Hi, my name is Andrew Berry and welcome to At the Bench. We've got a very short product review today. We're looking at something that's going to help you solder, help you hold the items together whilst you solder. They're available from a company called New Concepts. That's new as in K-N-E-W, New Concepts. You may know them from the red stores, the red New Concepts stores that they produce. Absolutely fabulous, fabulous stores. And Lee Marshall and Brian really come up with some innovative ideas that helps us jewelers do our job quickly and more efficiently. And whilst looking at these strips, it is not completely sort of clear on what these strips do. They are really, really helpful to have around on your bench. They are simple titanium strips. They are approximately 1 millimeter thick, 1.2 millimeter thick. They are 4 inches long, 10 millimeters, 100 millimeters, 10 centimeters, and they're in the region of 5 millimeters wide. They are titanium. They are titanium for a reason, and they are supplied to you straight like these here for a reason. And the reason is they are called titanium soldering strips, and you can bend them into clamps. Clamps that enable you to hold objects together in position whilst you solder. And I've got a selection of here. This is the strip that we've got. This is a very simple clamp that we have just simply bent together. And again, some different shaped clamps, as you can see here, that we've got, all various ideas. And a traditional third hand like this is brilliant, but it can't hold all these different ideas, these different projects, these different pieces of jewelry together the same way as these soldering clamps can. The advantage with these soldering clamps is that you can file them, you can shape them, you can shape the ends with a file, you can cut the ends down with a saw and splay them wide. You can drill a hole through the center, and then you just simply grab a pair of pliers and you can bend the strip into whatever shape you want. They are titanium because titanium doesn't sap the heat away. That's the problem that we've got sometimes with these third hands that we've got, these cross-lock tweezers. They're made out of steel. Steel absorbs and sucks the heat away from the item that you are soldering. Titanium doesn't do that. Also, when titanium gets hot, it doesn't lose its temper. It'll still retain its springiness. So the clamp will always be holding the same tension that it did at the beginning of the soldering job as it did towards the end. And you can bend the clamps in whatever shape you want that would suit you. Because everybody's soldering technique, items that they're soldering are different, the strips are supplied like this for you to bend in whatever position you want. And we've got some simple ideas here. This is something very simple that allows us to stand the item up as we've got there. I've also filed the ends, as you can see, a little bit smaller, a little bit thinner. This particular type of soldering operation, as you can see here, this is just a sample that I've set up just for this demonstration. But you can see I've got a V-shaped piece of metal, but this clamp is holding that absolutely perfectly steady. I couldn't do that using this type of third hand. It just wouldn't work. Something like this then as well, a flat disc onto a ring as we've got there, and that can be simply laid down, and that can be very easily and simply soldered in whatever position you want. That can even come down into that position like that, whatever you want to do. So that is the advantage. They are easily bent. You simply get a pair of pliers and you can hold them and you can bend them in whatever shape you want to. Bend the ends like that, and you can do, as I said, whatever you want. I would suggest you make them a little bit more professional than what I'm doing here, but you can just see how really simple we can bend these together. You can bend them with your hands. You can bend them together so easy, And if you didn't like what you've done, well, then you can always bend it back and bend it into a different position. If you wanted to have the strip to hold an ear wire right above a piece, well, then you can easily drill a hole into the titanium itself and bend it into a little angle that will enable that to stand right above your block. You put the ear wire in the hole, upon to the pad, it'll hold it perfectly. You can solder without a risk of the strip or the tweezers sort of sapping the heat away. And I just simply bent that, as you could see, really, really easy and very, very simply to hold whatever you wanted. I've included these few here, and I've also going to attach onto this film a very short snippet of a project that I did. It was a hairband bangle, and I used these particular strips to hold the wire, and it was a long length wire, about 140 millimeters in length, and I held that strip on a backing piece perfectly using these clamps, so I could be sure that I could align everything in position nice and straight first of all, applied the flux and soldered it. The clamps didn't take the heat away, and I could easily, simply solder it. The tension was exactly the same, so it didn't squash it. It didn't lose its temper when I heated it, so I was able to solder the two strips onto the base perfectly. And I'll include that at the end of this film. So that is Lee Marshall's new concepts, 4-inch, 10cm soldering strips that you can bend into whatever shape you want for whatever purpose. Soldering clamps, absolutely brilliant. I'll leave in the links down below where you can order your clamps from, but in the meantime, have a quick look at this film a little bit later. It's only literally 2 or 3 minutes just to, just to show you the technique. But in the meantime, my name's Andrew Berryford at the bench. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye. I'm going to sort my throat out now. Bye-bye. To start on the one end, there and there. You're making sure now that that is going to be nice and flush all the way along. Slightly off, it doesn't have to be perfect to the edge, but the next piece that goes into place has to be perfectly spaced from this chap here. Okay, so that's looking fabulous. The clamps will also perhaps move slightly because the flux is starting to expand, and it's going to lift those clamps up. But what you find then, as the flux starts to settle down, the clamps will just push the piece of silver back down into place like that. Perfect. Okay. So that's looking really good, making sure I don't really burn the bench. And I'm going to put one little piece at the one end there, come along, another piece by there. Gorgeous, looking good so far.